Anyway, at this time, the organization that we asked to hear from first was Clinch Valley Fire Department. So anybody that represents that organization that's been chosen to speak, if you just want to come up, tell us who you are, and we'll hear from you and kind of maybe ask some questions about what's going on.
Do I sit here?
Yes, sir. Please have a seat. And by the way, anyone else that wants to speak about Clinch Valley Fire Department, we'll recognize you too.
I'm Earl Middleton. I was a former chief for 3.5 years. Got us through the real bad rough patch we went through with the investigation and all that crazy stuff. Man, that was a crazy time. We have, on occasion, been paged out only to get to the fire hall to be Signal 9. And some of us live a few minutes from the fire hall. So some of those calls, if you go back and look at them that were being referenced, that Signal 9, you remain in your area. You're done. You don't even take the truck out. Or if you're on the road, you'll turn around and take it back to the department. If there's any questions from anybody here, I'll be glad to answer them. Larry, I know you got any questions? You always got questions.
I have received several calls from citizens over there, and all I know is mostly is what the article in the Rogersville Review referred to last week, and I've been told that that you've only responded to, early in the year, out of 17 calls for assistance, you've only responded to 4. And I've been told that maybe perhaps you're using your credit cards for personal use.
We don't have credit cards. I'll cut that off right now.
Okay.
We do not have credit cards. That's one thing I preached again after we went through the investigation with Nashville. No, nobody has that. Period.
I just know what somebody called.
Yeah, well, I mean, and you see when you come straight to the person that knows if we have them, that's your answer. We don't have them. I've preached against that since I took over.
So, this guy said you had only had one vehicle that was ready to respond. So how many do you have? How many do you have out of order?
We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vehicles that are all up and ready. We have one right now, the power steering line just went down on, and we're getting it fixed. Other than that, yeah, everything is able to respond now. Sure.
You got enough volunteers to answer the calls?
We do. We went through a period just like all the other departments where you start losing people because they move away from different jobs or whatever. But now these are some of the new members here. Got Rex. We've even got a couple from Lakeview that come up and help us occasionally. And so yeah, we're trying to get it built back up to where we've got somebody for any and every call.
So you have most of you officers than what you had a couple of years ago?
Yes.
Okay.
I stepped down myself. I had cancer. I don't know if you knew that. I had a radical prostatectomy and it was infected. Took 4 months to heal. So I couldn't dedicate my time that I needed. I mean, I was laying on the bed getting wound care 3 times a day from my wife, plus wound care at Moorestown 3 times a week. So it's kind of hard to run anything from there. So I went ahead in the interim, appointed Rex Bryant, and he did a fine job because that way I didn't have it on my mind. I could concentrate on me healing up.
Right.
And once I was finally cleared, September 18th of 2022, I believe it was, I went ahead and stepped down completely from chief and went to battalion chief. And that way I could be able to give them any advice as they went along and help to keep the things running smooth. But yeah, it's been a process in itself. But we are there for the community. I'll say that first and foremost.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I attended several meetings a couple of years ago, and they had the finance officer, secretary, treasurer, they had him locked out of the cabinet. He couldn't have any keys to get in the cabinet. So I saw right quick there wasn't anything I could help it at that time in the situation, because you had 5 or 6 people working against each other. So
Now, when was this, Larry, exactly?
a couple years ago,
Who was the finance, or who was the one?
I don't remember. I know the Lawson boy came in and took over after that.
Oh, that was Wesley.
Wesley, yeah.
Wesley's a good man.
Yes, sir.
That was Running Bear. And he quit that night.
Okay.
He sure did. But he'd failed to pay bills for 2 months. And I was the one that caught that and had to get everything straightened out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm glad. I know it wasn't a good scene for you, but maybe that was something that just needed to take place, because obviously we were going to have certain things cut off if it hadn't been paid. And he just dragging his laurels. That's all I
Good
can
to hear
say.
that. Good to hear that. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Yeah, I have a couple questions. How many volunteers do you currently have that are active?
Well, we have 10 with the new ones. It's going to be 13. I believe it's 13 now.
Okay. So are you disputing 911's report about the number of calls you've responded to? Or are you saying that's inaccurate?
I haven't looked at that information myself. I do know that if we were signal line from any call, and you should understand that, it's just saying your council, go home. That's exactly what a signal line is. And we've been signal line coming back across this side of the mountain. The mountain is divided. Once you go up 70 and you get to the top, that is the dividing line between Rogersville, Lakeview, and us. We answer and cover our side of the mountain. They cover theirs. But for some reason, they've been paging us out for a lot of stuff down that would not be in our coverage. And now, if it's a bad scene or what have you, that Johnny or Curtis or anybody needs us, they know they can call us. I mean, Curtis is sitting back here. He'll tell you, if they need us, they can call us in. But to have us on the original page when it's not our area, now that I will dispute. Now that's, everybody doesn't understand where that dividing line is.
Gotcha. Do you have any idea why the 911 director would claim that you're not responding to calls? If you are? I mean, do you think
Our radios have been a big problem. Now okay, Johnny Mallory came up this week and did a study. And I'm not sure, you said you weren't with him though, right? I know there was only one area that he could get out with a test page and readily answer. That's how it is up there. And that's because when EMA went ahead and decided to take down the repeating tower down here and then rebuild it and do this, hey, without it, they put us in the dark. And if we're not in an area that's high, we're not going to hear anything. And where our houses are, back in the hollers, whatever, if your tree growth is up, like where it is at my house, you don't get nothing. You might get a start of a tone and it dies off and nothing but garble. And you have to call. And I know Rex has had to call Central several times to find out what the call is because it's not coming through. But we've been complaining about this for 3.5 years. Now you tell me where that problem lies.
Can you speak to that at all, Jamie, if we do have signal problems over there?
The coverage over there is probably, with a mobile off of Short Mountain, probably about 75%. With a portable, it's probably about 50%.
That'd be with your radios, Jamie, not with ours.
That is correct. As far as what the tower is putting out, we did no work in the field to fire engines. There's radios out there that are 30, 40 years old. Some of the antennas are cut in half, broken in half, that sort of thing. When any of that happens, it affects the performance of that. In order to fix that over there, we need to build a site on Clinch Mountain somewhere near the fire tower. The problem is there's absolutely no infrastructure into there, so you're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars just to get to the top of the mountain to start. If anyone knows of any infrastructure on top of Clinch Mountain, we'll definitely.
Why can't we use that forestry tower up there?
There's no infrastructure as far as fiber or electric or roads here right now. So.
a question, Chief. I brought that up 3 years ago about that tower.
Yeah, it'd be awesome if it could. That'd cover the whole area. But like you said, I thought there was a fire road that went up to it, Jamie.
There's not. We've tried to even walk it, but the road's completely disintegrated. We did pursue that, talk to the landowner. That tower was actually sold.
With the property, I believe, is what,
Yeah, it was, the actual physical tower was sold, but it was never claimed by the person that bought it, so it reverted back to the landowner after years, so. That's owned by two sisters, and we did actively pursue it, but the amount it was gonna take to get power and roads and fiber up there was gonna be astronomical. Hopefully one of these state sites will be looking in that general area, and that could definitely help us out if they build infrastructure into that.
well, have we thought about there's a couple of farms that are right on that ridge out there. Have we talked about maybe talking to some of them that farms are actually closer to their top and maybe proposing to them to rent a spot for a while? I mean, anything would help.
On Clinch.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that we can get high enough elevation. I mean, I know some of the landowners out through there as well, and don't think there's anything that could get us right. If we're gonna go to the money to put something up there, you want it on the crest of that mountain or close enough that you can get your tower past the
Yeah.
crest of that mountain.
I mean, I've got the top of my ridge, you can see everything.
You'll
But I don't live at the top, I live down in the hole.
You'll commonly see cell sites that'll drop down 100 feet in elevation, but they'll build a 300-foot tower to get them
Yeah.
over the top of the mountain.
Yep.
Right, so, I'm sorry, you may have said this at the beginning, are you the current chief?
I was the chief until 2022 when I stepped down because of my cancer.
Okay,
It took that long, September 18th when I stepped down. That was a 4-month hill up period that I had the infection, tunneling, all that good stuff. Okay, so I'm not gonna get into that, but I stepped down because I could not dedicate 100% of my time
Right.
to the department. It just wasn't gonna happen.
so who is the current chief?
I went ahead and I put him in interim and we made it final.
Okay, and then my final question, will be, I'm gonna ask one more question, then I have a quick comment. What would you say the overall health of your organization is? I mean, do you think it's business as usual? You're doing great, growing, wonderful?
We're beginning to start growing. We're actually starting to grow. We just picked up 3 more new members just this last week.
Okay,
So yeah, we're moving forward. And I know everybody was probably shocked in the community that I went down the way I did. That's life. I mean, I'm still there for any knowledge that they need or whatever. And I know, I know Larry, I know Nancy, I know Eric over here, Jamie. I mean, I know some of the people here. And they saw what I went through before, and just having me there to help ease everything along and get them through stuff, that's my job now. And I went ahead and stepped down as all the way to a black hat member. But having that experience, that's gonna help. And with the new members coming in, we can start doing more training, because the ones we had, we were always the ones on scene, so we knew what we were doing. But with the new ones, we can actually start showing training out there at the shop and at the firehouse and doing things that the community is gonna start seeing again, because you gotta have your new members up and ready.
so in your opinion today, there's no reason for us to pull funding from your department?
No,
Would that be
Lord, no. I mean, we've been serving that community up there ever since I've been here in 2007. And I joined the department in 2009. And so I've yet to ever see any reason to pull that. No, that is a godsend. There's been a lot of saves from this fire department. Now, there's some that you pull up and you're not going to save. That's like this gentleman here. His place burnt overnight. Nobody knew it. I mean, nobody. No page went out, nothing. The page went out the next morning at 9:30. And Dave is his nearest neighbor, and he leaves to go to work. And as Dave was going by, he calls him. Says, "Your house is gone." You know, and we show up and that's all there was. It was melted tin and ash. I mean, he's got pictures of it. Big fine 2-story house. It was built in 38, 39, you was telling me?
Started in 38, finished in 40.
And he had a cabin in behind too. But, you know, people's got to realize that if the neighbors don't see it, you're not going to see it. Unless it's something that's so big, it's coming over the mountaintops. But up there, the way the hollers run, the way the breeze will take something and run it down here or there, and there's nobody there but cattle, there's not going to be a call. And but yeah, if we'd have seen that, we'd have been right there on it. But nobody knew about it. You know, that's just one case.
That's all I got, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, Earl, let me ask you a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you hold regular meetings?
Yes, every first Tuesday of every month.
First Tuesday of each month?
Mhm.
And how do you let the people that's involved with your fire department know about that,
About
about the meetings?
oh, that comes out on text. Everybody are, and it's automatic. It's already in our minutes. First Tuesday of every month is meeting.
And you've held those
Yes, ma'am.
religiously, I guess I
Yeah.
would say, okay.
Well, now this last week we held it on Wednesday because the yard sale was coming up for the weekend, and Tuesday would have been the end of April, so we did it that way and knocked it out.
Now, the volunteers, you said you had about 10, right?
Mhm.
So were they all adults?
Yeah. Well, except for their son here, and
Because I knew you had some junior fire.
yeah, and that's the only junior we have at this moment.
And your financial officer, who is that?
That is Rhonda Bryant.
Lon,
Rhonda Bryant.
Rhonda Bryant? Okay, and she, I guess, you didn't say your chief's name, I'm sorry.
Rex Bryant.
Rex Bryant, so is she kin to him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Husband and wife.
Well, yeah, and that was an issue before.
Well, and yeah, and that's already been addressed. In fact, at our last meeting, we talked about appointing somebody else to take over the financials because the look is not good.
Yeah, no, it's not.
No.
And that was one of the issues before.
Yes,
It was
ma'am.
all family running the whole thing, and not saying anybody's doing anything wrong, but
Yeah.
it's just not a good accounting practice.
But I did, right hand to the man above. I brought it up last meeting. I said, that is not a good look. Johnny Mallory was there. He agreed. And so we said that we're going to go ahead and try to appoint someone that is not related to anybody there.
Yeah, it would really be good if you could find an outside person.
And Johnny recommended that. He did.
Okay. Can you kind of tell us why you didn't get your information into the county commission for consideration for your funds?
Actually, Miss Nancy, I left that all in Rhonda's hands. I thought she'd gotten it in. If
No, we
not,
got a
I
blank.
can get it in. I had no clue.
Yeah, we got a blank page there.
Okay, well, no, I promise I can get that in.
Just
Okay.
a quick update, it did get turned in, I believe it was yesterday or day before, so I
Oh,
do.
yeah, I thought
So we
so.
shouldn't have to wait for a newspaper article to get stuff turned in. Everybody
No,
else.
and about that newspaper article,
Yeah.
I don't understand why everybody's on the road, commissioners are, they travel through the neighborhood. Why didn't somebody try to get in touch with us other than a phone call? I mean, think about it. You're hit, you're, you know, all of a
Well,
sudden,
until we came in and saw the contribution list, we didn't know that y'all had turned your information in. And it was late getting in last year also, so it was
well,
kind
now
of.
last year, there was a reason for that. I had to go through an act of Congress to go through Nashville. And I got all that took care of. So that was, and Eric knows that. He'll tell you right away, we knew about it on time, everything was turned in, but that one item, it took Nashville to get it straightened out. Not, it wasn't us.
Okay. Now, I'm just asking you questions. People
Yeah,
are asking
no, hey,
me,
go
you know.
ahead. No,
You know, I've worked with you for a long time.
Yeah.
Have you denied applications of people who are requesting to be along to volunteer at the fire department?
If they have a felony, yes.
Okay. None-
I mean, I
none of
don't-
the people I spoke to's got a felony.
Okay, well, then who are these people? I mean, let's just bring it out in the open. We're here.
Well, there was, I can't tell you right now because mine's blank, but several people had came to me and said they're once again, handpicking who they want in there, and a lot of it's family members, and we're gonna get in trouble again if we don't. Yes, sir.
Can I speak? We just joined,
Okay.
and we joined kind of because of what we saw in the community, his house fire,
Right.
and handpicking. I come in to kind of stir it up a little bit. A lot of people in the community that are here behind me mentioned a monopoly in the department, that nothing could get done because it was a husband, wife, son, son. I agree with that. I think they're doing the best I can, but handpicking, I walked in and I told them, I said, look, we need to make some changes to keep this. And they had no problem taking us right on. So I don't think they're handpicking, or they would have told me, go away. You're just here to stir trouble. So I don't believe that's true.
I'm trying to think, that was one of the biggest things, that there were several people that had come and asked to join, and y'all denied them to be able to join. And then, now you said you appointed Mr. Bryant, correct?
Yes,
So,
everybody was in favor of it.
did you have a meeting and you got that 8 minutes?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
And like I said, I was.
Now, how long will he stay as chief?
That's on him. That's the only people, as far as I understand, if he steps down, that'd be on him. Or if there's a big safety violation and the safety officer writes up the chief, or some behavioral pattern, of course, and that's where that would go. But as far as I know, he's actually excited to be chief. So.
And your title is what, that you can appoint a chief?
I was chief.
I understand that.
Yeah, at that time. And I was having to step down due to my medical health.
Yeah.
And so I put him as interim, because we had to have somebody, because I was laying flat on my back for 4 months. And so once I had him as interim, he did a great job, and it made me realize that I have a family. I can't dedicate all the time that I was before, so let somebody else have it, run with it. I'll step back, but I would be there for any knowledge that's needed or what have you.
Your membership doesn't let the chief, all your officers or whatever?
Oh, they were all in the meeting. Yeah, they were all for it. I'm saying, but I did let them know that I wanted to appoint him, that if anybody had any problem with that, and they all said no, said that was good. So they all raised their hands and voted yes.
So he's in office until you say it's not?
No, I'm done. I stepped down, Larry.
Everything, I'm a committee, on a committee. We have new elections every once a year, every 2 or 3 years.
No, that election is fine. I mean, it holds up. I was still in there. I'm saying that due to my health, Larry, I mean, this is simple. This is
I'm
simple.
saying, when does he come up for a vote to elect new officers?
It'd probably be anytime this year.
Usually in October.
October is when we usually go through it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
How do you let people become aware that how long do they have to be in the fire department before they can vote? And how
Well,
do
they have to have all their qualifications.
Okay. So Mr. Brian is a certified through the state?
Yep.
Okay.
He did that back in 2005,
Something like that.
somewhere in there.
Do
Yeah.
you not have to renew that every so often?
Well, for the Chiefs class, that's what he's been checking on, to see if he had to renew that. He did that at Bell Buckle at Pigeon Forge, and he was the only one I had that had that. So it was a no-brainer for me if I was going to move forward and try to heal up and do better. I could not. There was no way. If I'd have found out I had something else or my numbers didn't match, I'd have been gone. And fortunately, thank God, it turned out in a good way.
So how many new firefighters have you picked up this year?
Well, let's see, Andrew
I'm
came with us.
trying to count.
Huh?
I said I was trying to count. We went from 3 to 10, so roughly 7 in the last year.
Yeah, probably right at 7.
7, so you got 10 and you got 7 new ones?
Yeah, well, no, we've got, we picked up 7 more through the year, and now we've got 3 more, so there's gonna end up being 13. One's gonna be a junior though.
So have all of those taken the necessary training that's required?
No, Dave, I don't know, Dave, you've never had 64 yet.
Not yet.
We just
I have.
voted him in last week, him and his wife and their son.
I was a firefighter in New York for 9 years, but that was also 20 years ago, so I need to go back and just go through all my
Refresh.
recertifications and,
Before you could go out on fire call, do you not have to have that certification?
yes,
Yes.
which we're starting on the 18th.
Yep.
So of the other 7 new ones that you got, have they got that?
The other ones are,
certification?
yes.
Mr. Wilson, I've got several questions. Earlier, you referenced that you'll dispute a call if it's outside your coverage area.
I didn't say we dispute it.
You said-
I said if it's signal line, if it's outside of our area, we'll wait on the responding unit that belongs to that area to tell us if they need us.
Even though the call is coming from 911?
Well, we've tried to explain that to 911. We can't leave Clinch area vacant. That's basically you go across that mountain, that's no man's land up here then, so you can't do that. But they don't seem to understand that. We've told them that since 2009 when I joined.
But you are saying if they paid you to a fire outside your coverage area, you don't respond to it?
No, we
On a standard, well, nothing standard about a house fire. On a house
no,
fire,
you're
there's
exactly
three-
right.
There's 3 departments.
Yep.
So are you saying you won't respond to those?
No, we're saying that if Johnny and Curtis and them say they need us, we're on our way.
Well, it'll be dispatch. It'll say.
Right, but see, you're not following what we're saying.
I follow her.
Our area, across that mountain, and to come down, we're in no man's land to get back to our area if something breaks loose. So that's why we work together as chiefs within the department.
I understand.
Yeah.
So when, you said a lot of times you'll get a call and it'll fade out and then it won't continue on.
Mhm.
If it fades out. Do you have a process if you follow back up with 911?
He's had to call 911 several times just to find out what the call was.
Okay.
Last year and a half. I know they're getting tired and aggravated me calling up there because the tones at my house will go off and there's no one talking on it.
There's nothing after the tones.
Even if we get the tones, I'm new, but, I now have a radio and I can't hear anything anyway. If Rex calls and says, okay, we got a working structure fire, no member's gonna know. There's no way to call every person and say, hey, if we can't hear the tones, nobody's gonna respond because we don't know. So, if one person gets it and 9 others don't, it doesn't really help us. The communication is a huge problem.
So there is a follow-up anytime there's a weak tone?
Yeah.
If there is a call back to 911?
Yeah, you have to. That's just,
Jamie, I guess with 911, make sure we start keeping a record of any time any weak call comes in. And that way we have a record of 911 and it's not just a no call, no answer.
right here's the man that did the study up there, of course, Johnny Mallett. Everybody here knows him. And he came up and did a study. If I can let him sit down here a minute.
I understand about the signal stuff. I just want to make sure there is a proper communication back to 911 instead of us getting told that we paid them out and there's no call.
Right.
No response.
Oh, yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, that has to be,
Yeah, because one thing we're looking at here that was given to us was from January to June, y'all, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 non-responses. And then all the rest of them were fairly well responded. Then when you get to June, you only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that you responded to.
Leaves on the tree. We're getting less and less service. More and more leaves come back, less and less service we get.
Yeah, it's the growth of the trees and everything else. With my house, I can hear.
Well, this is June of 23 to December of 23.
Okay, well, what he's saying is the foliage comes in at my house, as soon as spring starts, I don't even get anything at my house, radio-wise.
Well, I understand that, but from, say, September, when the foliage is basically gone to December, you had more non-responsives. And that.
I'd have to look at that. I don't know, Nancy. I'm not sure about that.
Jamie, I think you're going to speak on it.
So what happens sometimes when that happens is, in order to communicate over there, you have to be on Short Mountain, period. And 911 has to be on Short Mountain. So when they press that tone button, it automatically selects a Short Mountain tower for that tone. It does it within the console automatically. If the dispatcher doesn't press the Short Mountain button, or if the end user is on a 40-year-old radio that doesn't have Short Mountain, that's not going to work. So that's what happens on both sides of that sometimes. And when they're saying they're getting the tone, typically that's what's happening. That tone's broadcasting on Short Mountain and the audio is coming from Town Hall. There's 800 feet elevation difference. So, sometimes those calls are in middle areas, that, like Cressman's home area, that those towers kind of, depends on exactly where you're at on which one needs to be used. So it's really difficult on the analog side for the dispatcher to be hitting the right button.
Ms. Wilson, the last question I do have for you. Do you all own your building? The fire
Yes, we do.
Okay. So it's owned by Clinch Valley Fire
It
Department?
is lock, stock, and barrel been paid off, yes.
So y'all don't lease it anymore?
No, it's paid for. Paid for as of January 2023. I did everything I could to put money back, and yeah. Once we got it paid for, that was a big weight off of our shoulders.
Has there been any, I know I said that was my last question, but has there been any complaints about any members responding to fire calls or driving equipment while intoxicated or under the influence?
You're gonna have people say whatever they want, you know, but if they're right there on the scene and you're working, you know whether they are. And me, if I'm on the scene, I'm gonna tell somebody to leave.
So have you had any complaints from the community?
I had only one complaint, and the man was checked by a deputy, and he was fine. But I put him on suspension for 30 days before I found all that out. So I actually lost a man, but I did what was right, you know, and that's what you're supposed to do.
We have a public safety meeting every quarter. I would like to see Clinch Valley start showing up to some of these and giving us quarterly reports.
Okay.
Operations and business
Yeah.
within the fire department. We have several of the fire departments that do show up.
Mm-hmm.
So, to show good faith to the community, I would like to see that start happening.
Just make sure that we know when and where, and sure.
All right, anybody?
One other question. So today, who is your treasurer and your chief?
The chief is Rex Bryant.
Okay.
The treasurer is his wife, which we just addressed with Nancy just a minute ago.
Any other questions? Yes, sir, go ahead.
I don't know if I'm allowed to
Yes,
ask a question.
absolutely, please do.
Because I'm not on the committee, but if I understood you correctly, you have 5 trucks or 5 vehicles that's ready to go. If you get a call, you're just talking about having a cover, if y'all went to a different section, you would lose coverage. Do you take all of your trucks when you
No.
respond?
If-
Or you just leave
That's
one
what
behind?
Johnny asked for.
If the county says we need an engine, if we need a tanker, whatever, that'll go. But member-wise, if we have members that are, say, in Pigeon Forge, we're down here shopping or doing whatever, they're not gonna be up there. So if we take a chance on sending everything down without hearing from Johnny or Curtis, because they're gonna be the ones that we depend on. I mean, 911, yes, God forbid. But if they say they need us to back them up, we're coming. But if not, they know how hard it is for us to get back across that mountain. So, Johnny, would you like to? I mean, but you did the study. I would like to at least address that, if you would, please.
That's up to them.
Oh,
Yeah,
just
the committee
a
will let you.
but we want to talk to Johnny, and I know Mr. Strong is going to
Oh, okay.
talk to us too, but I just want to ask a couple of questions.
Oh, I'm
For the
sorry.
sake- Yeah, for the sake of time, I'll try to move us along, because I certainly don't want to belabor this any longer than we need to. And I'll start out by saying, while I don't represent Clinch, I work there every day, and 158 of the most important people that live in Clinch Valley work,
That's
at
right.
my school every day.
Exactly.
And I want them to be protected, and I want them to be looked after, and I want to make sure that the taxpayers' money is being spent appropriately. So I already spoke to you about this, Mr.
Yeah.
Middleton, and I think you understand my position. So,
Yes.
From your comptroller report, the first deficiency in 2020 that was issued was that you didn't establish adequate controls over fuel purchases and the use of fuel in your department. Did you guys correct that deficiency?
Yes.
Okay, what method did you put in place to correct it?
The only purchases of the fuel is for the trucks, our saws, our weed eaters, and we have mowers at the firehouse too for mowing. But other than that, that's the only purchases that happen now. We had in the minutes, and it's still in the minutes, which Nashville even agreed with, if they're taking business, taking care of business off the mountain anywhere down here, that they would be authorized to get $10 in gas, because we're way up there and, you know, they're having to run down here to take care of stuff. Other than that, that's it.
Comptroller's fine with that.
Yeah, oh, yes,
Okay, so,
Personal vehicle.
yeah.
okay, so let me ask you this question. If a donation is made to you, who receives the donation?
It usually goes through the treasurer and goes straight in the bank.
Who puts it in the bank?
That'd be the treasurer.
Your second deficiency was that you need to segregate duties. And part of that means that when a donation is made to a treasurer or to a member or something, the treasurer collects it, documents it, but
There is a receipt that goes to that person that donates, and then when that goes in the bank, that's our copy of our records.
How many people have to sign a check in order for money to be spent from the?
The comptroller wanted us to do 2, but they said that they understood that no 2 people are always available to do that.
So you still only have one signature?
On majority of it, yes.
You have, did you put a better system in place for monitoring your financial documents? I know one of the deficiencies was that you just need to be able to keep your stuff together, your receipts, all of your logs for how you spend and what you spend. Is all of that being corrected?
Everything is kept in files, and that's the way it was before. They had a problem with $2,500 over a 3.5-year period, which some of that was, God, I can't even remember the name of it now. It was something that we'd tried, and everybody was to bring receipts back. It was like I don't even know the name of it now, but it failed miserably, and we shut it down. So that was some of that $2,500. But over a 3.5-year period, we're not accountants. We are not certified CPAs. We do the best we can, and that's where they said, yeah, well, they want you to track it this way or that way, and we implemented that. The man that went through the investigation with me, Frank Amelong, unfortunately died 6 months after due to cancer. And so we went through, Running Bear came in, and now Ron.
So would any member of your fire department have access to the minutes and financial records that you guys have collected?
They stay locked up, but anybody can get to them. I mean, if they ask, they just, yeah, we'll unlock it and go.
Okay. So to communication, there is a Wi-Fi app. We know we have pretty decent internet service in Clinch Valley. I asked you about this earlier, but I'd like to get it on record. So if you don't have radio communication, which one thing that I think sometimes I know that Rex, while I was talking to him on the phone, his pager went off. And from what I understand, a radio can pick up better signal than those pagers can sometimes. But secondly, you have Wi-Fi apps that you can pick up a call out from as well, which, there we go. Speaking of devil. So with that said, with those contingencies in place, Wi-Fi, using a radio as opposed to a pager, can you get better communication?
Yes, providing we're in a Wi-Fi covered area. That if you're at home, that's what you and I pointed out. If I'm at home and I step so far away from my house, I don't have Wi-Fi coverage. And that's just the way it is. Radios would be best if we could put some sort of tower up that is going to cover us. I mean, because we were used to it one time before they started disassembling down here at Short Mountain, being able to carry a pager, and we were getting most of those. But we're not getting anything now.
If we were to go to DMR radios for fire departments, which was on a plan, it's on the agenda, will those DMR radios pick up better there?
Once you get past it's a post office, go around the curve and drop off into where the Pumpkin Valleys are through there. It's a dead area even on digital. The rest of the county, about 95% coverage. And then over there, handhelds will still be a challenge, even on digital.
My last question, I'm sorry.
It would improve it, yes.
My last question to Eric. When we had, when we were setting up the first budget hearing, did anybody from your office, you or anybody from your office, reach out to Clinch Valley Fire Department and ask for documentation? Okay, did you get any response? Okay.
Via email or phone call? Letter?
We're trying to transition to email for cost savings and convenience and time, but still, we're on mail for the time being, although I'd like to get away from that this next year, so.
All right. Mr. Middleton, thank you,
Yes.
sir.
Thank you.
You got any closing statements you want to make or anything?
I respect all y'all, I've tried to do my damnedest for this place. I have. Nancy knows me, Mr. Rhodes, a few of y'all do. I've always tried to do the best at any job that I did. And that being said, I hope I didn't let anybody down when I had to step down due to my cancer. I apologize. I even feel like maybe I should just try to tough it out. I don't know. But I've been banging my head on the wall after my daughter. We were coming down to, and I helped coach Little League and softball. My daughter read the article to me, and Rex had touched base on it, but didn't say it was going to be in the paper. I didn't know that. I'm like, why would they do that again? After everything I went through, and I nodded up. And there was a couple of days there I couldn't sleep trying to run through my mind what I could have done different. So I just want y'all to know that if y'all ever need to talk to me, call me. I will help you get whatever answer we need.
Well, and to be fair, Mr. Middleton, you're no longer the chief.
I know, yeah.
I did reach out as soon as we had this conversation, the questions were asked, and we noticed that we didn't have paperwork. The next call I made was to your chief, to Rex, and
That's I understand that.
And kind of understand where we're coming from, or, we're not trying to throw you under the bus or anything like that. What we're trying to do is make sure that Clinch Valley has a fire department.
Right.
And it has a fire department that's run well, that we don't keep having to come back and call people in and ask them questions.
Exactly.
So, and I think if you look back at the comptroller's information, it's very clear about what was supposed to happen. So, and I guess the other question, talking about the volunteers, if you got a criteria for volunteers, I'm a volunteer organization myself, and, I never turn a volunteer down. And so if you've got people who are willing to come and help, but people get discouraged if things are not run properly.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be a part of something that they feel like that they can't feel good themselves about coming and being there.
I agree
And
with
so, I think that, like I said, what we're trying to do is to help you make your fire department better. You're in my district, you're in Mr. Clonson's district, and of course, we're the ones that get the calls.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why all of a sudden, and unfortunately about the thing being in the paper, is these are open meetings, and, and if whatever we talk about in here, it's gonna be in the paper.
Yeah.
And so that's why we try to keep everything above board.
On the up and up.
Yes, and that's what we're requesting of you all,
Yes, ma'am.
just level with us and then try to make this fire department, because you are isolated over there. And, and it's a dire need. You got a school, right down the road from you. And there's a lot of good people over there that I think are willing to come forward and help make the fire department what it should be. And I think you have that opportunity. We got firefighter classes at both high school, all the high schools now. So they're training young people to come in, and this would be a good opportunity to set a great example for them.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Mr. Middleton, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Mr. Strong, if you'd like to come up and just introduce yourself to the committee.
Yes, my name is David Strong. I've just joined the Clinch Valley Fire Department. A lot of the community is coming to me with some of the issues and problems. They know I used to be a firefighter in New York. Me, my wife, my son thought, maybe we could go down, maybe we could make a difference. I hear the same things that have already been talked about: communications, drinking, a lot of problems with this department. Now, I've been there less than 2 weeks, so I don't have, you know what I mean, I don't have all the background here. I see a lot of what's going on. I think it's a good department. I definitely think it's worth saving. My goal, I want to start a junior program. You know, we got to look at the SOPs, SOGs, and what we can do with the kids. We've got, you know, Mr. Roach's school right down the road. Great asset for new members, and it's not being used. You know, we can do this, which I think would grow a lot of, you know, confidence with the community. You know, work with their children, show them that we're willing to do stuff. Get training nights, get people in there to keep the station up nice. You know, I mean, there's a lot of little things that need to be done to make it great. I think it's okay right now. Definitely can be better. I've heard about the monopoly from a lot of people, about the husband, wife, child all running the department, which kind of, well, you all know it's bad. I mean, you can't have the same family making all the decisions. I do believe that needs to be changed. I think a no tolerance policy needs to be set in stone with drinking, drugs at that department or responding while you're on them. That is like a big issue. And that's kind of all I got for right now. But I mean, I think this is not something we need to get rid of. This is something we need to save. Sure. So, thank you.
Mr. Mallory, would you care to answer a couple of questions? Do you have any follow-ups on anything that's been said? I know are you a member of Clinch Valley Fire Department?
I am not. I do have some members from my station who's also joined to try to help out with them.
You do work with them?
I am currently, you know, going through some things with them, trying to help them change some standards. I had a meeting with them. The meeting that Earl was talking about, we had an officers meeting with them, and I addressed some things that they should be changing. Maybe not the same way we do it, but this is how we do it, and it runs a little more efficiently. And you know, I've offered, and me and Rex has been talking about looking at maybe their SOGs, SOPs, and setting some, like Mr. Strong said, setting some different standards on some stuff, and trying to move them into a professional. Yeah. They just some of the things that is going on over there is just there's lack of knowledge of what should be being done. So that's what I'm kind of figuring out. But I am working with them right now and trying to help them improve.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions?
I got one. When you bring a new fireman in, how long do you allow them, how long does it take them to get trained, to be able to go out on call?
Well, they have to have their, first off, they go through a probation period with us. They got,
How long is that?
that's a 90-day probation period before they can get turnout gear, pagers, anything. I want to see dedication to them because we don't have the money just to kind of throw equipment and even t-shirt. But with that being said, after their 90-day probation and they've not, you know, caused any problems or anything like that, then we move forward with getting them their 16 and 64. Before, that was pretty hard to do. They were fewer classes throughout the county, but there is a lot of people in the county now has stepped up and took some classes and become instructors. I know I'm a 16-hour instructor, and I have EVOC instructors, and all the other departments have the same, and they're 64-hour instructors. Since we've all done that as a whole and come up with all these instructors, it is a lot easier to do it now. Through the association, we have put in place that we have try to at least have 2 64-hour classes throughout the year, and we're also going to try to have at least 2 16-hour classes throughout the year. So it's according on what period of the year they join. You know, it could be as a month or, you know, a few months before we can get those classes. But once you join, you do have a certain amount of time to get these classes before you can be on the scene of a fire scene. You have to have 16 just to be on the scene, period. And I do require that. And that's something I'm going to make
responding soon, correct?
They're not supposed to be on scene now.
As a suppression fireman, but it's not uncommon in this county to have people that join that become support members due to health or something like that, that do hydration, food, truck driving, that kind of stuff. But as a suppression firefighter, that training's all required.
So with what Jamie's saying there, I do have an auxiliary, and that's what they're for. They have a distance they can only come to. They're cut off from that point.
A lot of times I work with those members that do that kind of role on supporting the scene and stuff. They're vital to those departments and to the county. Just want everybody to know that service is being out there provided as well.
As you've been working with them, Johnny, would you say they've been cooperative in listening to you and trying to
Absolutely.
restructure the department?
Absolutely. Every question I've asked Rex or Earl, they have absolutely just right away gave it to me. I asked about their finances, and that number was provided right away. If I asked to see their books, I believe wholeheartedly that they would pull them out on the table for me to look at them. And Rex is, he's talked about, pulling stuff out like that, going through things. And, we mentioned the junior program. I have a book that's probably that thick of what a junior member can and can't do. And Rex is interested in taking a look at that and trying to move forward with that too.
All right, so thank you so much. We appreciate
Thank you for working with me too, Johnny.
Yeah, you're very welcome.
And, so you'll have to remind me, it's been a little since did we withhold their funds in the last meeting?
We did this, yes.
Okay, so Eric, you didn't factor their contribution in at all. So when we go back to discussing that, we can, when we get to charitable contributions, we can discuss adding them back in or not adding them in, whatever the committee wants to do. And remember, we can set stipulations on it if we want to. One thing I do want to be careful about is overstepping our bounds as a local government into running an organization. We don't have any business running the organization. So I don't want to do any of that. But we certainly can say that they need to meet some benchmarks before we issue any money. Does anybody else have anything you want to share about the fire department or anybody else from the community? All right, thank you all so much for being here. Stay if you want to. You're welcome to stay as long as you like. But we'll move on from the Clinch Valley Fire Department.